All right, you landed in Ottawa Friday as things really got underway. You were en route and we were texting back and forth, and you watched it all unfold in front of your eyes. Can you just give us a preview of where you are right now, what it looks like behind you now in comparison to what it was like on the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. Just an unprecedented weekend here in our nation's capital, Melanie. I'm currently standing on Parliament Hill. This is one of the only places media are now allowed to stand in and around Wellington Street. I'm going to flip us around here. You can see this is Wellington Street. Wellington and Metcalfe, we have the Prime Minister's office right there. Across the street, we've got the Terry Fox statue. That was the center of a lot of controversy during the protests. As you can see, Wellington completely empty except for some parliamentary police vehicles. It's completely shut down and fenced off. Right here at this intersection, this is where you may have seen stages where people were singing, performing, giving sermons over the 23-day period. They had built a high-rise where people were standing. There was trucks parked. There was thousands of people here. And that was the scene still when we arrived on Friday. You know, police began making some arrests with some of the organizers late Thursday. Friday, they began to mobilize en masse, as I mentioned, an unprecedented police mobilization. My colleague Daniel Barry, who's behind the camera, myself, we were on the front lines Friday into Saturday. Here's a look at what it was like right here at Wellington and Metcalfe on the front lines Saturday morning. Since just before 10 a.m. this morning, this is what police have been doing. They've been pushing back protesters block by block. We're now right in front of Parliament, and this is more or less the last stand of the Freedom Convoy.
Anyone found within the zone will be arrested.
You can see over here we have the mounted unit as well. Police from multiple divisions. Police now asking us to step back. It looks like they're going to mobilize. Melanie, just some of the scenes you can see behind me here now. Better look at Wellington Street, pretty much completely empty. There's a lot of questions as to whether or not Wellington will ever reopen to vehicle traffic. They may shut it down for pedestrian traffic. The city very much here in the downtown core still under police control.
Adrian, first of all, I want to say kudos to yourself and Dan Barry, who's behind the camera as well. In a situation like that, being a journalist on the ground, to yourself and all of our media colleagues, is indeed a difficult task. And unless you are in it and you've experienced something like this, it is hard to describe how tense these moments can be. Can you walk us through what it was like? Because you could see the camera shaking. You can see you trying to get focus here, trying to find your grounding. What was it like for you?
You know, for us, our priority as reporters here on the ground is to bring people the stories. You know, we felt it's a privilege to be here for a very controversial, polarizing national moment, but a historic one at that. So, you know, yeah, it's a little wild on the front lines, but you know, that's where people are that we want to speak with. You know, we want to come here and give people a voice. Whether they were protesters that wanted to be heard, it was important that we heard. And it was important that we documented the use of force from the front lines. It was also important that we went out and we spoke with people in the community. We spoke with Ottawa area residents, that we spoke with area businesses that have dealt with 2 years of rolling pandemic shutdowns and had to now shut down for parts of 23 days while what some are calling an occupation took place right in our nation's capital. But you know, it was tense at times. We had some constructive conversations with people who weren't happy with what they call the mainstream media coverage. We were able to bridge some of those divides and have meaningful conversations and bring important stories to our viewers, our listeners, and our readers.
Adrian, finally for you, there's a bit of calm there. You know, we were checking in with Cormac McSweeney, we were checking in with Xiaoli Li, a bunch of reporters based out of Ottawa, and it was very different. You know, they were on their cell phones and zooming in with us and trying to weave their way through the crowds. Behind you, I know that this is a welcome sight for a lot of Ottawa residents. Rideau Centre being able to reopen today, businesses being able to get back to some sort of normal. What's the sense this morning? You wake up in Ottawa and you're talking to residents. What's it like?
You know, even just on our walk here, you can see just a little bit of Ottawa coming back to life. People going about their day, some people heading into an office. We had vehicles for the first time, people who work here being able to drive up in and around the hill to get to work. They're still going through police checkpoints, as you mentioned. The Rideau Center is opening today. Last night there was police barricades at the famous Byward Market. Those came down. The barricades at Sussex and Rideau just behind us here down the road, those have come down. But you know, the city still very much remains in a police operation. We've been speaking this morning even with OPP officers from everywhere from Burlington to Sudbury. There's still multiple police officers from multiple municipal divisions across the province and across the country who are still here. So, speaking with many area residents, they want to get their lives back. Area businesses would like to get their livelihoods back. Restaurants beginning to reopen. A little bit of a sense of a bit of normal, but still, this is not a normal scene here in our nation's capital. It's going to take some time. There's concerns that some of the protesters are staging in other areas outside of the city, and what that could mean for the days and weeks ahead.
Adrian, to you and Dan behind the camera, thank you so much for your incredible journalism, and I appreciate you bringing us these stories. Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie.